News in Motion family, good morning. Welcome to Game Over with me, Kenny Stanley. It's going to be a big weekend this week in college football as the teams opening up their conference schedule, trying to find out who's the best in the conference. Will the team up north repeat as Big Ten champs, or will the Buckeyes reclaim their crown? Will Georgia remain the kings of the SEC, or was it a decade thing, and Alabama will show them why they are always the team to beat in that conference? We got number one Georgia playing against Kent State. Got number two Alabama taking on Vanderbilt. Number three Ohio State hosts Wisconsin Saturday night at 7 o'clock on ABC. Number four Michigan plays Maryland, and number five Clemson plays number 21 Wake Forest. The NFL kicks off the weekend starting tomorrow night on Amazon Prime as Pittsburgh uh, plays the Cleveland Browns. Will Buffalo remain the dominant team so far in the NFL as they travel to Miami and take on the Dolphins? Cincinnati will try to get their first W of the season as they travel to New York to take on the Jets on Sunday. Philadelphia heads to Washington for a division game to see who will be the team to beat in the NFC East. Will Jimmy G prove that he should have been the starter from the jump as San Francisco goes to Denver to take on Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos Sunday night? And the weekend will wrap up as the Dallas Cowboys head to New York to take on the New York Giants. Let's go Cowboys. I got a question for y'all. Do you know what the poorest state in the USA is? That would be Mississippi. Do y'all remember Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre? Yeah. What do these two things have to do with each other? Brett Favre is caught up in a welfare scandal in Mississippi where he and former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant built millions of dollars from earmarked for poor families and children there in Mississippi. Text messages were revealed between Brett Favre and Bryant after nonprofit manager Nancy New was accused of skimming money off the top of this fund. New filed the text message as evidence as she's testifying in the court case, trying to defend herself against these allegations. Favre and Bryant, as well as other well-connected conservatives who are alleged to have received tens of millions of dollars of state welfare agencies. Former director John Davis. The texts show that Favre was seeking $5 million to help build a volleyball stadium at Southern Mississippi. What's crazy about that? Brett Favre's daughter was on that volleyball team during the time that he was asking for the money, and Brett Favre was credited at Southern Mississippi with raising the majority of the money to go help build that stadium. I will keep everybody posted as this story continues to go and continues to unfold. That's sports. Game over. Now to Gail with News in Motion.
Hey, what's up? Thank you, Kenny Stanley. For
Yeah.
everyone who did not hear the announcement on Monday, Kenny will start having his own show on the Ready Media side of things. As y'all know, I have Ready Publication, Ready Media LLC. So we're going to be using that platform to launch some new shows. We will also have a young people show, the hip hop show with Isaiah and Lexi. That will be coming soon as well. Theirs will be once a week as well. Kenny's will be on Saturday once a week. So we're really excited about that. A lot that's happening. And as that all unfolds, we'll be bringing you that information. And so this is my opportunity to also tell all of you, if you have a show idea that you want to launch on Ready Media, email me at info.gaildudley@gmail.com. Yeah, we're moving on up. We're moving on up, y'all. We're moving on up. And this is the season to do that. So we're really excited about that. Deborah Johnson will also have a show. Deborah, I need you to call me today. We'll also have a show on writing. So you don't want to miss that either. So we have some great things that are coming. As y'all know, Deborah Johnson fills in for me when I'm out. And so she's had a show years ago. So she'll be coming back out with a new show. So thank you, Kenny, for hanging out with us. So let's
Thank you.
today. Y'all, today is Wednesday. It's Wednesday, September 21st, 2022, and it is time for the headline news on News in Motion. I am your host, Gail Dudley. I saw Pastor Alex come in here. Good morning. I see you, Tracy. I see you, Patricia Lyles. I see you, Shardinia, Dr. Antoinette, Adrian, Yvonne, Shirley. What's up, girlfriend? Cassandra Tauber, what's up? Y'all, let me stop right there with Cassandra Tauber. If you are in Central Ohio on October the 15th, you want to head on down to the main library, Columbus Public Library, in room 3A. We are going to have real conversations about what's on the ballot here in Central Ohio and throughout Ohio. So you have to register. It is free. Yes, downtown's parking costs 50 cents, but okay, we can do that, right? There's only 20 spaces available. Cassandra Tauber will put the link out. I believe it comes out on Monday. So be looking for that link. We will also have that link right here on News in Motion's page as well. But you want to participate. We're going to have a great time with that. Good morning, Deborah Johnson. I just called your name. I hope you heard that. Regina, good morning. Good morning, Kim Edmondson. Listen, y'all, Kim Edmondson and I, I'm always looking at stuff, finding stuff. And there is this unbelievable house in Central Ohio that it doesn't fit in Central Ohio. And I sent it to her. It's almost $5 million. I don't know if Hester's on here or not. I sent it to her and I said, and we were like, it should be in Atlanta or California or what was the other place? Or Miami or Florida, this house, but it's in Central Ohio. It's really an amazing house, but it's a strange house to be in Central Ohio. So I sent her this link. I said, girl, look at this. I said, can you imagine if legit investors came together and bought this property, all Black and brown people bought this property and rented it out to filmmakers. It's a filmmaker studio, y'all. Filmmakers, weddings, government events and so forth, y'all. That's how we need to think. So I just saw Kim Edmondson, so I want to say that. Lori Wallace, what's up? I see you, Angela. Good morning to you. What's up, Marion Jackson? What's up, Judy Neal? I think I got all of y'all now. I see my brother, Louis Pryor the third. I see Philip Bridges. Let me stop at Philip Bridges for a moment. Philip, I saw you waving that Michigan flag on your Facebook page. Shut that down. Just shut it down. Just shut it down. And how many houses do you have? Because you were taking that flag to everybody's house. I was like, what is he doing here? What else do I have on here? Cassandra Tauber says she'll invest Kim Edmondson. So there you go. Once again, y'all, for those, and this is another Central Ohio thing, but Dr. Antoinette, you were going to let me know if you were going to kick off one in the Baltimore area. People who want to see the Woman King, make sure you comment in the thread so that Kim Edmondson can grab your name. All right, y'all. Today, we don't really have a lot of White House news, so we're just going to say what. So everybody in the thread, go ahead and just put the word what with a question mark. What? All right, y'all. The Hill reports that the former guy on Tuesday said that his wife, Melania Trump, felt very violated after the FBI executed a search warrant in their Mar-a-Lago home last month. And he says, and I quote, she felt very violated. I mean, this is a terrible thing. They go into her closet, they go through her dresses, and who knows what else. And it wasn't left the way they found it. This is what the former guy said during a phone interview on Newsmax. Say what? Say what? You felt violated? Really? Really? Okay. You felt violated. Yeah, y'all just say what? All right. Just say what? American Airlines. I want y'all to follow here. And I know I have some students watching, so I'm going to be very careful when I'm treading through this. American Airlines plans to offer premium suites with privacy doors. Yep, CNN reports privacy doors and lie flat seats with a chase lounge option are features on the new premium suites American Airlines plans to roll out on its long haul fleet beginning 2024. When I read that, when I saw the press release, I was like, that can open up doors for some other things. Will the plane be rocking? What will be happening in those cabins? And is that a great idea? Really? I'm just like, I don't know. What do y'all think? Should American Airlines or any airlines have such a thing where they have privacy doors? Now, first class, business class, when you're flying overseas anyway, you can lay flat, but now they're going to have privacy doors, chase lounge options, and features on their new premium suites. Now, there's already a Mile High Club where people go into, So, is that really right? I want to know what y'all think. Cassandra Tauber says she's booking. Kim Edmondson says she saw the pictures of it in the airport. I saw the pictures yesterday on the press release, and I'm like, I'm not too sure about that. Is that going to be heavy load up front? You know how they already in an airplane, if when they're weighing the plane, they shift people around, they move luggage around because they have a weight imbalance. So if they do this, would there be a weight imbalance on the plane? I'm just saying, I'm just asking the question. Say what? Adrian says a whole new concept to the Mile High Club. It's just crazy, y'all. It's just crazy. Kenny Stanley says brings a new meaning to the mouth. I mean, seriously, so say what? All right, y'all. Next up, y'all. New York Times reports the Justice Department said on Tuesday it had charged 47 people with running a brazen fraud against anti-hunger programs during the coronavirus pandemic. Y'all stealing $240 million by billing the government for meals they did not serve to children who did not exist. Yep, y'all, the case in Minnesota is the largest fraud uncovered in any pandemic relief program, prosecutors said. Now, standing out even in a period when heavy federal spending and lax oversight allowed a spree of scams with a few recent parallel. But this is the largest, y'all, $240 million. Now, the Minnesota operation, prosecutors said, involved fake receipts for 125 million meals. At times, it was especially bold. One accused conspirator told the government he had fed 5,000 children a day in a second-story apartment. Yeah, Michelle Bowie, what's up? Yeah, y'all, that's what happened. That's what happened. See, that's why they don't approve these programs to certain people. They don't approve them because we take advantage of them. Y'all, 5,000. He said, first of all, that don't even sound right. You fed 5,000 children a day in a second-story apartment. That there's all kinds of holes in that story. How are you getting 5,000 children in and out of an apartment building in a day? How are you doing that? How are you doing that? That doesn't even sound right. So y'all, $240 million. Y'all, please be careful out here when you're putting together GoFundMes or nonprofit organizations. Make sure you are following the law. Make sure. Tracy Bird says that's a lot of money that could have helped feed people. It really could. They really could have done that. But no, they were into other things. All right, just say what? Just say what? All right, next up, Associated Press, y'all. AP reports the head. I want y'all to listen to this. I know that can't be nobody but Mike Nicholson, where he says 1 lemon head per kid. That's a lot of boxes of lemon heads to give 1 per kid, okay? Because how many's in there? What, 20 in a box? That's a lot of boxes of lemon heads. All right, y'all. AP reports, Associated Press reports, the head of the United Nations. I want y'all to listen to this. At the opening, this was Tuesday, yesterday, of the General Assembly annual high-level meeting. This is a high-level meeting. Even our president was there giving his words of aspirations and doom and gloom and all this. And this one right here was really doom and gloom. He's the head, and he opened with these words. He warned world leaders yesterday that nations are, here's the quote, gridlocked in global dysfunction and aren't ready or willing to tackle the challenges that threatens humanity's future and the planet's. What? Did you really open up? Isn't that supposed to be a welcoming speech? He came out and I watched it. I was like, let me read, let me check out the link. Let me go here and see what it says. I went back and I said, and his demeanor. And it's out there, it's circulating, it's on the loop out there. And the loop means the media loop, where it's looping over and over and over again. So there's a loop out there with him. If you didn't see it, check it out on YouTube. He's out there. He says gridlocked, that nations are gridlocked in global dysfunction and aren't, his words, aren't, he didn't say are not, he said aren't ready or willing to tackle the challenges that threatens humanity's future and the planet. Y'all, when I heard that, I came back to our country and said, that's on the ballot. And it is. That is actually on the ballot, because if certain people get into these offices, you talking about gridlock and global dysfunction, we will be there as a nation if we're not already there. So just say what? Say what? I see you, Mary Jenkins. I see you, Mary Jenkins. I see you, Donita. What's up, y'all? Next one, y'all, NBC News reports. After President Joe Biden, I don't know if y'all saw this or not. When I saw this, I said, dude. And he had nerve to repeat himself. So, y'all, after President Joe Biden said in an interview on 60 Minutes Sunday night that COVID-19 pandemic was over. Now, but he did acknowledge, let me put a pin in there. He did acknowledge that COVID-19 is still a problem that needs to be addressed. But he said the pandemic is over. Scientists, doctors, and everyone else said, no, that's not the truth. And I'm going to prove it to y'all. Y'all, disease experts said debating whether the pandemic is over overshadows a more important concern, the reality that COVID will remain a leading cause of death in the United States indefinitely. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. The reality that COVID will remain a leading cause of death in the United States indefinitely. Since April, and this is coming from scientists and doctors all over the US and abroad, since April, COVID deaths have stayed relatively flat at a weekly average of around 300 to 500 per day. Y'all, I'm talking about people dying from COVID in the United States, average around 300 to 500 per day, not week, not month, per day. Every day, 300 to 500 deaths. It says if the trend continues, the U.S. could expect 113,000 to 188,000 deaths a year from COVID. A year. So anywhere from 113,000 to 188,000 deaths a year from COVID in the US, but right now they're averaging 300 to 500 per day. Now, they said that that this 113,000 to 188,000 deaths a year from COVID is putting COVID on par with chronic lower respiratory disease and stroke. Now, chronic lower respiratory disease. I want y'all to follow this. I know who our audience is, what makes up our audience. When you hear the word chronic lower respiratory disease and stroke, what community do you hear? What community do you see? That means that this kind of says, so y'all healthcare is on the ballot, because we can't downplay COVID or the pandemic. We cannot downplay that. Thank you, Isaiah. I love him. That boy is sharp. You hear me? Not boy. That young man is sharp. Okay. We cannot downplay these numbers. Y'all, 113,000 to 188,000 deaths a year from COVID, putting it on par in the chronic lower respiratory disease and stroke. What community? That's right, Pastor Shannon, Angie Shannon. What's up, girlfriend? She's on here, our community. Yeah, we can't skip past this. This isn't information we grab and push to the side somewhere. This is information we hold on to. John Hopkins COVID tracking data recorded more than 2 million cases in the US in the last 4 weeks alone. So we have on a national programming our president of the United States saying, oh, the pandemic's over. What? No, it's not. Now, he did say, let's keep it real. He did acknowledge it's still a problem that needs to be addressed. But when people came out, you should not have made that statement. So y'all, John Hopkins, again, COVID tracking data recorded more than 2 million cases in the last 4 weeks alone. Now, I want y'all to understand something. I want you to hear this. That's reported cases. Now, with these at-home tests, we ain't reporting nothing. We're not even going through the system. We just pull out the box, do what we want to do, and then once we figure that out, we don't call nobody, we don't send anything, we don't call our doctor. We're like, oh, it just feels like a cold, let's go on. Listen, y'all, those numbers need to be reported so that there is a definitive answer and that the insurance is covering it. Because at a certain point in time, we're going to have to start paying for those things. On September the 2nd, the government stopped sending free at-home test kits. They stopped. They shut it down. And now we can't get those. If you go somewhere, you have to pay for them. So we need to continue to report these numbers so that people can see this is not over. This is not over. Regina says she had COVID six weeks ago. It's not over. Nope. Many cases are not reported. You're right. With that, Kim, I appreciate that. So y'all, that's what's happening. So what do you think? What do you think? Do you think COVID is over or not? Explain your answer in the chat. If you are listening by audio, you keep your mind to the road. And if you're at your job and you shouldn't be doing anything else, you just listen, you laugh, you nod your head while you're at your desk or in your cubicle. Don't get in trouble. So I really want to hear from y'all. Do y'all think COVID is over? Yes or no? And please explain your answer in the chat. Pastor Angie said, I had it. It was no joke. That's the medication. Now, was it hard for you to get the medication? And then she says there are lingering impacts. Was it hard for you, Pastor Angie, to get the medication? Because some people are saying it's difficult to get that medication. Davia says it's here to stay. I'm with you. I'm like, the other day I've been really relaxed on the mask. Now, when I went to see Woman King, I had my mask on the entire movie. Now, and when I'm standing in line, I still want you to back up off of me. I like that. That's something that should never change. I don't care if COVID's gone. Stay back. You don't have to get up on all of us. Stay back, 6 feet apart. I saw somebody in Kohl's taking up the little circles with like stand here. And I said, y'all shouldn't take those up. And the lady said, we argue with management to leave them down because we like it that people aren't back to back in line when they're coming to the checkout line. I said, yeah, we got to back this thing up. Keep that. So it's not going anywhere. Wow, y'all are coming in here. Cassandra says, no, it's not over. This is our new norm. Not at all. It was free with my insurance. Angela says, no, it's not over. They want it to be. I'm sure that's Mike Nicholson says, nah, you come up Facebook user. I know of 8 people who got it that I spoke to last week. Wow. Adrian says, definitely not over. Still experience staff shortages on campus due to COVID-19. My sister who works at Children's Hospital says COVID is the new flu. If y'all remember when I mentioned the new booster that came out, was it last week or week before, when I said it's now available, I read y'all the actual press release from the White House briefing room with the CDC director that says this will be yearly. That sends the message. So every September, expect for it to come out. Wow, y'all are shooting it up. What's up, Nicole Burton? She said it's not over. Yep, Kim Edmondson, back it up. I look at people like, get back. And then I'll move. And this one man took a hard breath a few days ago. He's like, ah. I said, right back, like, we ain't playing this. I ain't playing this at all. Donita said, definitely here to say we see it every day in the healthcare community. And yes, our community compromised patients are definitely at greater risk. Excuse me. So thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. All right, y'all. I got to keep moving. Say what? Representative Benny Thompson, the chair of the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, said this on yesterday. He said that the committee's goal is to restart public hearings on September 28th. Hello, somebody. I got excited. I was like, ooh, gotta get my wine, my popcorn, get ready for a setup so I can see what's happening here. And things are heated up because they have now been in conversation with the DOJ. So it's getting ready to be real serious, y'all. All right, y'all. Now this one's bothering me a little bit. And I'm sure you've probably seen this, but I really want to hear y'all's take here. Piper Lewis, a girl who was 15 years old, when she killed a man, she said raped her multiple times, must pay his family $150,000 in restitution. An Iowa judge ruled. Say what? She was raped. She was trafficked. And why does she have to pay $150,000? Well, that's a rule. That's a law in Iowa. Yep, you heard me. Y'all, a law in Iowa is forcing a teenage girl who survived human trafficking to pay her rapist's family $150,000. Now, the judge ordered Piper Lewis, and again, she was 15 years old when she fatally stabbed Zachary Brooks. He was the age 37 when she stabbed him and killed him after he raped her repeatedly over the course of weeks in 2020 to pay the man. I'm gonna keep giving y'all this number, $150,000. I don't care if they said she had to pay $1. She shouldn't have to pay him anything. Well, people have been outraged all around the country, so they began sending her donations. Y'all, they have already raised more than $500,000, and when I looked this morning, is knocking on $1 million. Y'all, so this all happened by midday Sunday. They raised $540,000 in donation, to be exact. Now it is beyond that. And so she has come out and her representative, her attorney, and said that she thanked everybody, and the remaining money will be used for college and to just start her life and to get therapy and things like that. First of all, I think her therapy should be free. I don't think she should be having to pay them anything. And shout out to everybody who has given to this cause. There's something wrong with the system, people. There's something wrong with the system. She's a beautiful black young lady. I don't know if y'all have seen her picture. Just Google her, Piper Lewis. Beautiful, beautiful black young lady. So yes, more of the story, if you've looked into it, she was homeless. And she was actually raped and then taken to this Zachary Brooks home where they repeatedly raped her and trafficked her. So there's that's happening. Yeah, y'all, that's crazy. That's crazy. Dr. Antoinette said, thankfully people raised the money for her, but really, what kind of law is that? I'm with you on that. Shardinia says, Angie Shannon, I sit in the back. Oh, okay. With your mask on. You sit in church with your mask on. Mike Nicholson saying the system was never meant to the system is against blacks and women's pretty much. The system works the way it's supposed to work. We need to figure out how to work the system that they put in place to work against us. That's how we have to do that. Pastor Angie said the system was never meant to advantage us. Human trafficking is real. Yes, every day. Donita said, and the judge ordered her to do community service. Yeah, that too. I don't get it. So it's a backwards thing. All right, keep going, y'all. Federal Reserve plans to increase interest rates. I know y'all probably like, how does she go there? Yeah, I wanted to let y'all know that. There was a great piece in the New York Times yesterday on voting. Y'all know that was National Voter Registration Day yesterday. And I just want to give y'all some information, and we'll put the link in here later for you to see it as well. Some of y'all still talking here. Cassandra said, that is right. The system isn't broke. It's working just fine. Lori Wallace says, human trafficking happens every day of the year, every day. There's this organization called the International Justice Mission. I've been there. It's in Washington, D.C. I went there for a conference, and I may have shared this on News in Motion previously, and I'll get to the voting in a moment. I may have shared this on News in Motion previously, but I went, and it was the most difficult conference I have ever attended. When you walked into the conference, and you didn't know, they didn't tell you what you were going what was going to happen. But when you walked in, they took a like a barcode and they stamped you on your wrist. And then some people they stamped you on your neck, and that was like you're for sale. You're in a human trafficking zone. You're for sale. And then you walk through this area that was really dark, and you were just able to grab. You didn't know what you were grabbing. Well, you knew you're grabbing paper, but you didn't know what was going to be on that paper. So you grabbed. They kind of like took you through assimilation, but you were also praying at the same time. So I grabbed. You were able to grab three. So I grabbed three, and these were ended up being prayer requests for people. And I ended up with the 3-year-old. These were real people. 3-year-old who was caught up in human trafficking. I grabbed, I think it was a 32-year-old, and then there was a 17 or 18-year-old, and their prayer requests. And so then you go into your first session, second session, third session. I entered into a session that they gave you a warning before you walked in the room. If you ever, and I believe they still do them. They may not have done them for a while during the height of the pandemic. But check it out. It's IJM, International Justice Mission, in Washington, D.C. I went into this room, this workshop room, and it was dark. And again, we all had our stamps on, whatever. And they started showing live video. They had the people's faces blocked out, but live video of a young girl in a room. I'm like, what am I about to watch? And they were already doing surveillance, just like you see on regular television when there's like 2020 or some show like that. And it was a hotel room, it was a girl, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. But once you're in, you can't get out. And I'm like, oh, this is deep. And you kind of sign these things when you go into their conferences. And so they didn't show you the people they blocked out, but they were showing you all the people who were tuning in to watch this girl and all the different, now I'm talking about countries and cities. And I was like, at first you think, oh, this is only happening in this area or that area. But I kept saying USA, 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 USA. I got sick to my stomach. Y'all, human trafficking is real and it's happening every day. And that's an area that we should be praying for continuously. And I didn't mean to go off there, but for some reason it came back and I wanted to share it with you. So check out IJM, and it stands for the International Justice Mission, and it's out of Washington, D.C. I went as a person, at that time, pastor, to pray because I was writing prayer books and all those things. And I was like, what did I just sign up for? And you kind of knew going in, but I didn't know it was going to be that deep because they leave out and they say, we won't share all the experience with you. It's done that way to shock you. And I was shocked. When I got back to my hotel room, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't eat. I couldn't talk. I was just sitting there sobbing, like, what did I just witness? And I really went into prayer for the 3 names. And then you gather the next day and debrief and talk about it. And the room was silent for almost an hour. And they said that happens every time they do this. And then people started having conversation. So if you want to learn more about things like that, check that out. But it's a lot to handle. Be prepared for that. And again, it's IJM, International Justice Mission. With that said, I know we're running out of time. Let me go to this voting real quick. There was this wonderful piece in New York Times, and we'll post a link later, talked about where the easiest and the hardest states to vote. Y'all, the easiest top 10 is Oregon, Washington, Vermont, Hawaii, Colorado, California, Nevada, Utah, Illinois, and North Dakota. I'll say those again. These are the easiest places to vote. Oregon, Washington, Vermont, Hawaii, Colorado, California, Nevada, Utah, Illinois, North Dakota. Y'all, the hardest top 10, what I call it, bottom 10 places to vote. I'm so embarrassed. Ohio starts the list. Ohio, Missouri, South Carolina, Wyoming, Alabama, Texas, Wisconsin, Arkansas, Mississippi, and New Hampshire. I was like, how did Ohio get on top of all of them? But that's the truth. So Ohio, Missouri, South Carolina, Wyoming, Alabama, Texas, Wisconsin, Arkansas, Mississippi, and New Hampshire. Now, y'all, some states moved to expand early voting and vote by mail. Now, these are the 8 states which are now entirely vote by mail and send ballots to all registered voters ahead of the election. Why can't we be like them? Those 8 states are Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Utah, Washington, California, Nevada, and Vermont. Again, those 8: Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Utah, Washington, California, Nevada, and Vermont. Now, South Carolina added 12 days to their early voting this year. 19 states allow voting only on election day. However, those who can't vote on that day may still vote by absentee ballot. So this drives me crazy. And that is Alabama, Connecticut, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. So y'all, I'm gonna put this because I want you to really read it. It's a very long read, but I really want you to take the opportunity to see this. There are 18 states that allow residents to register to vote and cast ballots on the same day. 18. I'll give those to you real quick. Colorado, Connecticut, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Vermont, Washington, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Virginia, New Mexico. And then it gives you all the information. Ohio, since there's a lot of people from Ohio on here, ours is 30 days before November the 8th. And I believe early voting starts October the 11th. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So early voting will begin. I gotta say, we're in one of the states that give 30 days. There's a few states that give 25. There are a couple that gives 20, 15, 10, and then it goes down to 0 days. So just be aware of that, y'all. Just be aware of the registration deadline with national voter registration happening on yesterday. Check that out. What's up, Hester? Hester, you got to go back and listen to this. I called your name earlier. What's up, Denise? What's up? So that's information I want you to check out. It's so much to unpack on that. Maybe we'll go over a little bit tomorrow as well, but I'm gonna put the link in here for you to check that out. That's information we need to have, so you know when early voting begins, when's the last day for voter registration, if you can vote and cast a ballot on the same day, the type of information you need. All this information needs to be a part of your voting toolkit, if you will. And I've actually been thinking about putting together a voting toolkit to send to people. Y'all pray for me. I have all of these visions and ideas, and I'm like, what do I do with these things? So I'm working through some of this. All right, y'all, it's time for our inspirational message, and we're out of here. I want to talk about listen, pause, pray. Listen, pause, pray. With everything that I even shared with you today, it's time for us to listen. Did you really hear what was being said? Do you really understand the connection that most everything I share with you is on the ballot come November the 8th? Again, this is the most important, I believe, this is the most important midterm election of our lifetime. I really do believe that. So are you really listening? Are you paying attention? Are you listening to when people are speaking to you? Are you listening? Are you taking the time to listen? And in that listening, do you go from listening and then just pause, not react, but pause? Just take it in. Ask yourself, okay, what was really said right here? Why was it said right here? How does this connect to me? How can I make a difference? What do I need to turn over? Where do I need to transition? What do I need to do? Just pause. Don't do anything yet. Just pause. Even when we were talking about that house, and that house is the bomb. It's in Pout. It doesn't even look like it fits. And I sent that house to Kim Edmondson. We'll post a link in here too, so y'all can see. It's amazing. I was like, this house doesn't belong in Columbus. You would have never thought this house would be in Columbus. You would think it would be in Miami, Florida, California, or Atlanta. I think I threw Atlanta in there when I was talking with Kim Edmondson. The house is amazing. But even in when I was sharing that with y'all earlier in today's News in Motion, I said, girl, we should find some people, some legit people who want to invest in this and make it a place that we rent out to filmmakers. I'm sure filmmakers have already filmed from this house in Central Ohio. It's like, what is going on here? Rent it out as a hall or whatever, or retreat. You know, if Beyonce and her posse come in town for a concert, we could rent that out to her. Yes, we could. She would go. Trust me, this house has to have held some major people. I even think if I go back to some movies, I believe John Travolta did some filming from that house because it looks familiar. I was like, this is in Central Ohio. But even listening to that and pause and say, yeah, what does that look like to invest in something like that? What does that look like to do some voting registration? What does it look like pausing to see where you connect or where you fit? How can I support this young lady who just had to pay $150,000? So what? She's already surpassed $500,000. How can I still sew into that? What type of legislation could I write or be a part of so that this doesn't happen in my area where I live or in my state? Y'all, we just have to pause. So we listen, then we pause. We don't do anything. We pause. Then after we pause, we pray. I'm still not at action yet. I don't even have action in this inspirational message. Then we pray and we ask God, what is it do you want me to do with any of this? And he may very well say nothing. I just wanted you to listen, just to have it, to hold on to it. You may have to share this information with somebody else later, but God may say, right now, I just want you to listen. I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to have this information. Other times he may say, I want you to make these phone calls. I know you have some connections. I've already allowed y'all's paths to cross. Contact these people. Just share the information. Don't tell them what to do. Just share the information. That's all. Nothing more. And then there's other people he may say, this is what I want you to do. And he may give you one of the 20 steps to do. That's it. He may give you two. And the thing is not to rush the process. Go back to pause. So these three things interchange. Listen, pause, pray. Then you may pray, then pause again. And you say, let me go back and listen to this. They may intermix. You may just pause. Then you may listen. Then you may pray. You may pray. Then you may listen. Then you pause. They'll just interchange. Y'all, we got to learn how to enjoy the moment. Listen, pause, and pray. All right, y'all, I'm Gail Dudley. I'm your host of News in Motion. Hopefully you got a lot from today. Y'all, I can't wait for tomorrow. We have a special guest that's coming on with us tomorrow. Did y'all love the guest on yesterday? Dr. Charles Ferguson was straight fire. He was straight fire. So please tune in tomorrow, see what we have for you. Deborah Johnson, we got to talk today. All right, y'all know what I say. Stay well, everyone. And remember, make some bold moves. I'm out.
Motion.